how did you get connected with Ethiopia and the people you're buying and working with on the coffee itself?
The owner of Hot and Cool Cafe in Leimert Park, his name is Tony. And he, from the beginning, so I after organizing the march, I was introduced to this community safety initiative. And the community safety initiative had like 4 tiers. 2 of the tiers I was on, one was safe passage, where like people with lived experience as far as gang living would work at like in their respective areas at the park in their hood, and we would kind of like make sure that, you know, the youth and the family, the people, the park goers were safe throughout the summer. And so I worked that, and then one of the other tiers was healing circles, and I was on that. So we would lead a healing circle where we would like address traumas. It had hella African practices to it, so I was attracted to that. And because gang members are we definitely tribal, and it tapped into some of that, and just commitment and relationship, and that's big in gang banging, you know. Even though in a lot of ways it has deteriorated, for the most part, I feel, due to the collateral damages of systemic oppression. But period, relationships are important, and it was definitely cultivating that in the healing circle. So I joined that too. Those were the 2, safe passage, healing circles, and then the other 2 tiers, I believe, were entrepreneurial development in like high school age students. I wasn't a part of that. I want to say Brotherhood Crusade was leading those efforts, but yeah. So I was having a healing circle in my hood, and then once it's like a pilot though. So they were seeing if it was gonna work, and we did good. So after that summer, they continued the funding for it, and I moved my circle from my hood to Leimert Park so that more people that come from different areas could be involved and comfortable with coming. And so that's what I did. But I was doing the healing circle at Hot and Cool Cafe upstairs in there, and I get to hire a person under me, you know, to lead the healing circle, a co-facilitator. And there was a young girl named Raven, and she was leading like breathing, healing, breathing. And I wanted to incorporate as many non-traditional methods of healing for us as possible, like, you know. And so she was also the coffee girl there. And I would see, like, when I would help her bring the mats that we would sit on for our healing circle, these bags of coffee just like stacked on top of each other. And I didn't even know it was coffee, but I was asking her about it, like, what is it? And she started telling me, like, yeah, Tony has a direct connect from Ethiopia to coffee. He has a coffee farm out there. And she was just like, you know, Ethiopia is the home of coffee, and just like educating me. And I'm like, that's what I want. Because I had already had the idea of a social enterprise, but I didn't know what the product was going to be. And I'm like, that's it. And we just started having meetings, and now we're filing for the nonprofit and just establishing and creating it.
Well, congratulations on that. I know as part of, you know, what you're standing for also, that building from within is important. So how and why did you come to that realization, and what does that mean?
You said wait, say that again.
How did you come to the realization that building from within is important?
Well, it's kind of like simple to know. I don't remember its stages in that I realized it in like moments of like having epiphanies through going through shit. But I mean, just like with an individual, like all our answers are in ourselves type shit. And it's like there are elements within that you know, outside just don't have. It don't exist there, you know. And that alone, like I mean, it's you just we can learn what an outside entity can learn, but like an outside entity could never learn what we know from within. It's kind of like the concept of like had to be there. Like, You just had to grow up like that. You had to grow up there. You had to, and you know, you just had to actually do it, to really get it on the level that it needs to be gotten in order to be effective. So that's why I talk a lot about lived experience married with education. Like, I believe in situations and programs and projects and efforts that are aiming to like cultivate the people who actually live there. And then on top of that, granting them or allowing those people to have total creative control. Because again, other than that, if you're not talking about that, then you're not talking about shit. Because if you're not talking about us being able to sustain our own independence, then you really not talking about shit. But what the fuck is already going on? Y'all, other people capitalizing off of us. Period.
Right. So in that, on that front, then what do you guys do and talk about in the circles? How does that work?
Well, it's confidential as far as like actual things that people share. We big on confidentiality, but we talk about first of all, you don't leave the circle without a tool. We share tools, and a lot of them come from African treatments of trauma, and a lot of African American leads in that work here. Dr. Cheryl Grills from LMU is who put the curriculum together. And so we basically address our traumas. We address our everyday stresses, the things that come along with transgenerational trauma. We talk about what that means, what these stresses mean from a Black point of view, because there's a difference. I mean, everything in America reminds you that you are Black, but it does it in a way as usually when Black people talk about the stresses of where we come from, it usually stays like in a negative state, but we do it in a way that like highlights like our assets. I can't even explain it. Like, it's just dope. And it's because we have total creative control, and we have the necessary compassion and that nobody else can have, without the lived experience. And we guide with that. The participants do most of the sharing, and again, like, they heal themselves. Like, it's just a space created and we're like topic guides, and it just organically happens. But it's not no just whitewash shit, no cognitive behavioral therapy and no shit like that that's hella like not culturally competent, don't have no Black people, no niggas in mind. Like, when you're talking about measuring the wellness of a person, like, it's like some of that shit don't even apply to my life. And so this is our own getting back to our mental wellness.
Gotcha. So with these positive things that you are working on, obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic with COVID-19. How has that affected some of your objectives and some of the things you were planning to do?
Well, before COVID hit, I was getting support from local government to have the 1-year anniversary to the Nipsey inspired gang march, and so that got shut down, of course. And that's like the biggest way that I feel like I've been impacted, as far as I couldn't have that march. And that was really important to me, because before we were going to have the march, we were going to have a retreat with 100 handpicked gang members, like that I and like other people who know who's who in what area, and the hot spots. We were gonna choose like from different generations, at least 2 to 3 people from each of the like the main hoods that we could reach, and we were gonna go on a retreat for the weekend, and we were literally gonna like create a front of like ambassadors, so to speak, like for the respective areas to where we could bring some back some honor to our communities where a fucking nobody like the nigga Eric who killed Nipsey, where that won't be the culture, like that won't be the direction that we going, just bringing it back to the knowledge of like I said, like systemic, or what we're up against systemically, and to know, like, to redirect some of our anger and shit. Not necessarily a peace treaty, but we came up with the idea of having a non-aggression agreement. Just an agreement that if a motherfucker ain't fucking with you, don't fuck with them. Simple, and if you know that somebody is operating off from a buster stance or a punk ass stance, like, you don't support that. Like, you and we can't just immediately jump to being clergy of the church, but just meeting people where they are. Like, if a motherfucker ain't righteous in they fight, then we shut that down, and so that's what the retreat was going to be about, just educating ourselves on what our real fight is, not denying that we have animosity because of the things that have happened in between, over decades between us. People have lost people, but to really have a honest conversation about that. We are all just basically, none of us are tough enough to where we can't say that we not tired of losing people. So COVID kind of prevented that from happening, but this shit preordained. So, I mean, it ain't really stopped nothing. I feel like it's still perfect, and whatever didn't happen because of COVID is probably just going to happen even harder because of the wait. And shit, that was really it though. That retreat that was in that 1 year anniversary March. But
okay, so how can people support you or get involved and help grow what you're doing?
They can follow me and contact me on Instagram. That's really like my only platform that I operate from. I don't have like a website yet or anything. I'm in the process of building my board stronger for the nonprofit. Huh?
Give everybody your Instagram so they have it.
Powerful as a motherfucker. POWERFUL period as AS underscore A underscore MUTHAFUCKA.
All right. Well, there it is. All right, LaTanya, well, anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
Oh yeah, follow my business page too. I have a dessert business. It's called Filthy Rich Banana Pudding, and I'm definitely practicing a lot of the learnings about just entrepreneurship in my own personal life that I'm definitely gonna add to Warfo. But it's called Filthy Rich Banana Pudding, spelled the correct way on Instagram. No underscores, no nothing, just Filthy Rich Banana Pudding.
All right. Well, there it is. We appreciate you coming through to Unique Access.
Thank you.
Thanks, LaTanya.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for
just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on your MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The history of gangster rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.